Good morning. Still technically morning, right? For a few more minutes. Welcome. New day, new time, new space out of my basement. Just for today though. And then for the next 2 weeks in June, we should be back to Sunday mornings live at 8. And then keep an eye on the Facebook page or the app maybe, I'll let you know as far as any changes for July. We're gonna get started in just a minute. I don't know how many people are actually hopping on live because of the short notice and the kind of random middle of the day time. So I'm just gonna give it just another few moments for anyone who is hopping on. We're gonna get started pretty quickly. Oh, there's a playlist I put underneath my post earlier, and I will share it one more time right underneath this live video. And then we'll get started. We are starting lying down on our backs in Shavasana, so if you'd like to lie down, get nice and comfy, go for it. Okay, it is there, and it's also under my post earlier today that announced this class. All right, so we're gonna get started. Guys, lying down on our backs in Shavasana. I will meet you there momentarily. I'm gonna start my music, just to keep us paced quietly. Okay, here we go. So hopefully you're lying down on your backs, you're nice and comfy. You can float your eyes to close. And finding whatever comfortable variation of Shavasana that's going to allow you to kind of settle in. And close your eyes and bring your focus to your breath, which should be nice and slow. So nice slow inhales and slow and controlled full exhales. Maybe even bringing a hand over the heart and one over the belly, feeling the beating of your heart, feeling your chest and belly rise and fall as you inhale and exhale. It's a really, not only grounding sensation, but a really good way to just get in touch and connect with your own breath. And again, if that option does not serve you well, you certainly don't have to take it. It's just an option like everything else in this class. And take a moment just to notice how you feel. Maybe identify any areas of tension or tightness in the body. And breathe to that space. Soften those areas. Good. Maybe you got a busy morning already. Maybe you're just kind of getting started. But wherever you're coming from, taking just a few moments to settle in and quiet down. I'm going to offer you another option that I really like on my back is to take Supta Baddha Konasana, so bound ankle pose. So if you'd like to, you can bring the soles of the feet together to touch, let the knees fall out wide. I'll show you an option not reclined up here. Okay. And then the arms, you can keep them at the chest and the belly, or you can even open them to cactus, start to open that chest and shoulder area, and I'll meet you there in just a moment. And just try to find some stillness once you settle into whatever pose you're in for a few more moments. Feeling grounded and supported and finding your center before we start to invite some movement back into the body. I'm going to join you guys on my back in Supta Baddha Konasana, that option I offered. It's a beautiful visual for that. You can take a peek up at your screen. Good, opening the hips, opening the heart space. Try not to arch the spine here. I find that I naturally start to do that. So just letting that really relax. Let the earth support you. Just take another few breaths. Good. And then gently start to keep the bend if you have it, but if not, bring a bend into the legs, soles of the feet plant to the ground. So you can keep the arms at cactus, you can bring them out to a T or long down by your side. I just want you to gently windshield wiper the knees side to side, bringing in some slow, gentle movements, loosening up that lower back. Good, and once you're even, you've dropped the knees to both sides an even amount of times. Meeting back center, and let's hug those knees into the chest. Good, give yourself a nice little squeeze. Shoulders can lift or they can stay relaxed against the floor, whatever feels better for you. Maybe you find stillness, maybe you find that you rock gently here. Again, it's all about listening to your body, honoring what it wants, where it is today. Good. If the shoulders are lifted, let's bring them back to the mat, arms down by the side, straighten our legs up high to the sky. Okay, a little micro bend is perfectly fine here. And start to move your feet, maybe pointing and flexing the toes, maybe rolling out the ankles in both directions, and this nice mild inversion to get us started. Okay, I'm going to interlace my hands behind my right leg, and I'm going to slowly lower my left leg to the earth. It can stay long and extended, as I try not to kick my shelves. Or if you don't have the space, or if it's too much or too early, you can bring a bend into that left leg and plant the sole of the foot. Our focus here is on this right hamstring. So gently use your hands to guide the leg a little bit closer to the body. Again, a little bend in this knee is fine. You don't need to lock it out. You can continue moving the foot or the ankle. Okay, maybe give yourself a little massage in the calf area if that feels good. I know my calves are always tight. And maybe lifting the shoulders up, completely optional. And make sure your breath is slow and steady still. Let's take one more full breath here. If your shoulders are lifted, lower them. Let's bend that right knee. Plant the sole of the foot to meet the left. And then let's extend that left leg high to the sky. Interlace the hands behind the left leg. Again, right foot can be planted, right leg can be bent, or you can extend it out long. Shoulders can be grounded or lifted, whatever feels good for you. Try to mirror what you did on the first side. Knowing it might not feel the same, that's okay, that's perfectly normal. Again, continue with these foot movements, maybe massaging the calf or lifting the shoulders, but most importantly, our focus again is on this hamstring, so the top back part of the left leg, those hamstring muscles. Let's take one more full breath. So you get a little bit deeper. Good, slowly release that left leg. Let's hug both knees back into the chest. Give them a nice little squeeze here. Drop the shoulders. Let's bring the arms out to a T, so use the core to keep the legs bent. And let's drop both knees over to the right. You can even reach for the outer edge of the left knee with the right hand. Gaze comes off of that left arm, taking a nice little spinal twist. Good, trying to twist a little bit deeper from the core with each exhale. If that left shoulder's lifting off the mat, just back off of the twist a little bit here. Releasing the hand grip if you have it, using the core to bring the knees through center. Slowly dropping them over to the left. Gaze comes off of that right arm. Left hand to the outer edge of the right knee. Spinal twist on our second side. Good, and you can keep the eyes closed and keep the breath nice and slow. We're just gently waking up and warming up the body. Again, try and twist a little bit deeper. Each time you exhale, that twist is coming right from the core, kind of like you're wringing out a sponge or a towel. Coming back center. Let's just take a rock up and down the length of our mats. You can take one or as many as you want. I'm on a wood floor, so it doesn't feel so great. So I'm just going to take one or two to get up, and we're going to meet in easy seat. So cross leg, doesn't matter which leg's in front. Good. I'm going to offer you a moment if you'd like to set an intention for your practice. So bringing something into your heart or into your mind that makes you happy, that you're grateful for, that you're working on. Whatever it is you're creating energy for today. Let's take a couple breaths with some shoulder rolls. So as you inhale, draw the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, slowly roll them down the back. Let's do that one more time. Nice deep breath. Inhale through the nose, shoulders come up towards the ears. Good. Open mouth, let that breath go as you roll the shoulders down your back. Good. Let's find that Baddha Konasana again. I don't know if you all took it in the beginning, but let's bring the soles of the feet together to touch. Knees drop out to the side like you're opening the pages of a book. I like to hold on to my feet with my hands. Nice and tall though through the chest, so good. Think about opening those knees a little bit wider. The closer your feet are to your body, the more intensely you'll feel the stretch. So if it's too much, just bring the feet a little bit further away. So you have the option to stay lifted here. If you want to take a gentle fold, let your next exhale breath float you forward, drawing the chest a little bit closer to the feet. And then slowly starting to lift back to a tall spine. And we're gonna cross over the legs coming into a tabletop pose. So meeting on all fours. Good. Making sure your knees are in a straight line down from the hips, wrists in a straight line down from the shoulders. Set that belly in, nice neutral spine. Good. Let's extend that right leg behind us, just hip height. Good, flex that foot, toes should be facing down, engage that glute. Make sure the hip's not opening, so your hip flexor's facing your mat, it's not opening to the side. Good, let's bring that right knee toward the right elbow. See if you can get it to touch. Good, send it back. Slowly, one more time, right knee to right elbow. Good, send it back. Good, and this time we're gonna bring that foot out to the side, so creating a line out from the hip. You're gonna rest your foot on the ground. Good. You have a nice little groin stretch, inner thigh stretch here. And you can stay right here. If you'd like to take this a little bit further, kind of point that left knee out to the side of your mat. Your left toes will come in a little bit on an angle, and you can even sit back here to a half child's pose. Maybe chest stays lifted. Maybe you walk the fingertips forward to bring the forehead of the chest closer to the mat. If this is too much for you, just come back to the previous pose. Or you can even take a traditional child's pose if the right leg out is a little bit too intense. But for anyone who's still here, let's take one more nice full deep inhale and exhale. Good, slowly bringing that right leg back in to meet the left. We'll meet back in our traditional tabletop. Take a nice cat-cow just to kind of even everything out. So as you inhale, drop your belly, tuck the toes, lift the gaze. Good. As you exhale, untuck your toes, press through the palms around your spine, nice and high in the sky. Good. Meeting back, neutral spine. We get to do that again for our second side. So this time the left leg extends behind you, hip height. Again, keep the hip flexor facing down, toes facing down so the foot is flexed. Let's bring that left knee down to the left elbow. See if you can make that connection. Feel those obliques engage. Slowly extend it back out long. Good, one more time, left knee to left elbow. Good, extend it out long. And then we're gonna step that left leg out to the side. And again, you can stay right here if you're getting this nice inner thigh stretch. It's a nice little modified gate pose. If you want to take this further, just going to bring that right knee slightly out to the edge, angle the toes in, and you can press back into this half child's pose. Again, with the option to stay lifted or to gently lower the forehead or chest. If you are someone who has any desire or is working on a middle split, this is a great way to kind of target one side at a time. Take one more full breath. Good, starting to lift back to center to our neutral tabletop. Let's take one more cat-cow here, make it nice and dramatic. So inhale, drop the belly, arch the spine, lift the gaze, tuck the toes. Good. As you exhale, press through the palms around the spine, gaze comes inward, untuck the toes. Let's actually retuck them. And right from here, we're going to start to lift the knees and lift the hips into our first downward facing dog. So finding that big upside down V, making sure your fingertips are nice and spread, lifting your hips as you lower the heels. It's okay if the heels don't touch. Maybe they will shortly, maybe they won't. Good, feet are about 2 fist width or inner hips distance apart. and melting the chest back towards the thighs. If you want to check your alignment, you can take a quick roll out to high plank, top of a push-up, make any adjustments you need to, and then slowly re-lift the hips, lower the heels, downward facing dog. Maybe pedaling out the feet a little bit here, working on that ankle mobility, getting a nice little calf stretch, stretching the Achilles, maybe a gentle shake of the head, yes or no, taking whatever movements you need to find stillness, to get comfortable. Good, letting the head hang heavy. Let's take a nice slow walk, one step at a time to the top of the mat, meeting in Uttanasana, forward fold. Good, again, letting gravity do the work, so we're letting the top body hang heavy. Legs are straight or a little micro bend here, again, is fine. By making sure that your head is in line with your neck, so don't crane your neck. You want to get rid of the wrinkles back there and just let it hang heavy. Good, don't hold your breath here. To create a little space in your next inhale breath, let's lift halfway, so come to a flat back, palms come to the shins. Exhale, fold. Good, maybe this time taking some movements, bending one knee at a time, maybe a gentle sway side to side. Again, just listen to your body. See how it wants to move or see how it wants to find stillness. Very slowly, one vertebrae at a time. Let's rise to stand. This is our upward salute. Arms come out and up, meeting overhead, maybe a gentle back bend. Good, part the palms, swan dive with your next exhale, back into that forward fold. This time we're going to plant the palms in front of the feet and we're going to step back one leg at a time to our high plank pose. Right, feel the core start to engage, really suck in the belly, flat back. Let's hold it for 3, 2, 1, and then as you lift the hips, lower the heels back into your downward facing dog. We're going to start moving through some standing poses. So when you're ready, right leg's going to lift for a 3-legged dog. Doesn't matter how high it comes. Maybe it just comes a couple inches. Maybe you have some full extension here. Good, maybe even bending that right knee, stacking the hips, opening up that right hip flexor, moving the leg around or finding stillness. Good, squaring back off. The right knee is going to come into the nose with that angry cat back. And with control, you're going to step that right foot between the hands, finding your low lunge. So high on the ball of the left foot, right foot's fully connected. You can keep your fingers connected here on the ground, or you can even hover. Just make sure you're not resting that top body on that thigh. And really engage the core and the inner thighs to help with your balance. Feel that right leg really engaged. Try to get that deep 90-degree angle here. Good, one more breath. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale. Good, let's frame out the foot with our hands. Drop that left knee, untuck the toes, and we're going to settle into our crescent lunge. So you can interlace the hands on top of that knee. The stretch here is on this left hip flexor, so feel free to bump the right foot forward or the left knee back if you want to get a little bit deeper into this stretch. You also have the option to take another arm variation. Maybe you want to come to cactus once more. Good, or even all the way overhead. Another option is to interlace the hands behind the back, really open the chest, stretch those shoulders. Just make sure everything's square to the front. Let's take about 2 more breaths here in our crescent lunge. Take a nice deep inhale. Exhale for 1. Inhale. Exhale for 2. Let's frame out the foot with the hands once more. Let's straighten out that right leg, finding a half runner stretch. So we're keeping the left hip away from the heel. We're not sinking back. We're folding forward. Left toes can be tucked or untucked. Chest closer to that thigh will get that stretch in the back of the right leg. Great place for blocks if you have them. Then maybe pointing and flexing the toe or gentle windshield wiper movement will change how you feel this hamstring stretch slightly. Ooh, my hands are tight today. That running that Joe made me do this morning. Another 2 to 3 breaths here. Whenever you feel like you've gotten to the point where you can't go any further, make sure you don't hold your breath. Your breath is your tool that will allow you to settle in and kind of keep off that fight or flight that your body wants to go into when it's feeling a little stretched or stressed. Final breath. Good. Let's plant the sole of the right foot. Let's tuck the left toes. We're going to keep the right leg bent. We're going to lift the arms, finding a high lunge. Pinkies spiral in, shoulders away from the ears. Let's take a nice little side body stretch here. Let's reach for the left wrist with the right hand, and we're gently going to lean toward the bent leg, so leaning toward the right. Feel a nice stretch to that left side body. I feel it even into my left hip flexor, those little intercostal muscles, your breathing muscles. Good. If this doesn't feel good, you come back center. We'll all meet there in a moment. Good. Let's release that side body stretch to come back to our traditional high lunge. Good. See if you get a little lower for one more breath. Next, exhale breath, hands float down to frame out the right foot. Let's bump up the left foot and step it on an angle. Good. 45, so we're facing the top left corner of the mat. And let's straighten that right leg and fold over it. This is our pyramid pose. So making sure both legs are straight and our hips are square. That means that the hips, shoulders, chest are all facing the front. I often in this pose like to take a halfway lift. Not so much to create space, but really to check my alignment, because I tend to open to the side here. So manually adjusting forward and folding again over that right leg. Maybe taking the hands for a walk a little bit to the outside. Again, these little micro adjustments can make big differences in how you experience a stretch or a pose. Lots of hamstring work today. I don't know if it was subconscious when I planned this class, but I certainly need it. I don't know about you guys. And then very slowly and with control, let's start to walk the hands all the way to the other side of the mat as we turn our feet and straddle our mat in this widest leg forward fold called Prasarita. Your feet should be about one leg length apart. Top body's hanging heavy. Good. Now you can just stay here if you'd like. If you want to walk the hands forward or back, see how that changes the pose, you certainly can. If anyone has an inversion practice and wants to go upside down, this is a great place for a tripod headstand. Maybe you want to take some skandasana, some ninja lunges, either with the hands down or the chest and hands up, side to side. Don't try to get it all in. We'll hit this pose one more time on the second side, but I'm just trying to give you some options here. Find what works best for you. Taking just a few more breaths, so if you need to even anything out, think about doing that now. Good. Take your final breath here in your Prasarita. And then we're going to start to turn the feet back to the front, turning into our low lunge. Just as a transition, plant the palms, right foot steps back to meet the left. We're in our high plank. Now, you guys know, if you've been with me, you always have options to hold this plank, to throw in some push-ups, to go right to down dog. If you want to flow, this is a vinyasa class. I'll talk you through it. Take a nice inhale to prepare. Exhale, we lower halfway through a push-up, arms nice and close to the body. Inhale, find your back bend of choice. That's upward dog, high or low cobra. I'm in high cobra. Toes are untucked here. Good, rolling over the toes, meeting back in downward facing dog. Again, ready for our second side. So left leg lifts for three-legged dog. If you did so on the first side, you can bend the knee, open the hip. Maybe even shake out that leg a little bit. Good, squaring off the hips. Left knee comes in toward the nose. And with control, we step the left foot between the hands, finding our low lunge. So nice deep bend with that left leg, high on the ball of the right foot. Again, you can keep the fingers connected or to blocks, or you can even hover here. Good. Check your alignment. This is the base of so many of our poses. Let's take one more breath. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale. Good. Hands lower, frame out the foot. Drop that right knee, untuck the toes. Arms come up or interlace on that left knee, or open to cactus, whatever variation you prefer for your crescent lunge. Right hip flexor here is where we should feel this. So again, feel free to bump up that left foot, inch back that right knee, really till you feel that sensation on the front part of the right hip. Taking whatever arm variation you'd like, settling in here for a few more breaths. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Good. Hands are going to frame out that left foot as we straighten the left leg, finding our half runner stretch or our half split. Again, right toes tucked or untucked, whatever feels better for you. There's no right or wrong. And then the big move here is the fold over that left leg. Keep that right hip away from the heel. We're not sitting back. The hips are lifted, top body's folding forward. Good. Maybe some movements with the foot. See how that changes, how your hamstring experiences this pose. Good. A few more breaths here. Make sure the breath is still steady. Take our final breath here. We're going to plant the sole of the left foot center. We're going to tuck the right toes and top body lifts, finding a high lunge. Good, so come really high in the ball of that right foot so you can really get a deep bend here on that left leg. Shoulders are away from the ears, pinkies are spiraled in. If you did so on the first side, we'll take that side body stretch again. So grab the right wrist with your left hand. And a gentle lean toward the left. Good. Feel that in the shoulder, through the ribs. I really feel, I don't know about you guys, in my hip flexors. My hip flexors are tight, so that makes sense. Good. Don't lose that bend in the left leg. I know it's shaking a little, mine is too. That's okay, right? Good. Releasing out of side body stretch. Hands lower to frame out the left foot. Let's bump that right foot up a little bit. Plant it on a 45 so it's facing the top right corner. Make sure the hips are square. And we fold over the left leg. Take a nice breath here. Good. So straight legs, square hips in our pyramid pose. Again, if you need to, you can take that halfway lift or as many as you want. Actually, just square those hips, plug that left hip back, roll the right hip forward, and fold. Good. If you did so on the first side, you can even walk the hands to the outer edge of that left foot. Get a slightly different angle on that stretch. Good. And then simultaneously, we're going to walk our hands all the way to the other side as we turn our toes to face the opposite side this time into Prasarita, our wide-legged forward fold. And again, you can certainly just hang. If you want to take any other options, you can. Maybe you want to take a little twist here, you can. If you want to take those lunges, go for it. If you want to go upside down, that's fun, but only if you know how. If you don't, ask me. I'd be happy to teach you. Inversions are fun. Okay, so you have a couple breaths here to explore this pose, see what variation is speaking to you today. If you're doing anything that you need to even out, go ahead and hit that second side. Good. Preparing to come back into that low lunge. So we turn the toes to face forward, left knee is bent. Good. Hands plant, left leg steps back to meet the right. Hold this, throw in push-ups, go back to down dog. Take a break if you'd like. If you want to flow, let's lower halfway. Arms hugging the body. Good. Find your back bend of choice. High cobra is my choice today, but you're welcome to take a low cobra or upward facing dog. And then we'll be back in downward facing dog for our second and final standing sequence. Take a moment, catch your breath, grab a sip of water if you need to. One benefit of being virtual, you guys can always pause me at any point, right? Take any breaks you need. All right, let's take a nice slow walk, or if you want to jump to the top of the mat, we're going to meet in that forward fold. Good, one vertebrae at a time. We take that upward salute all the way to stand. And then hands lower through prayer, heart center. Good, getting ready for a little bit of balance. Let's bring the weight into the right foot. Kind of kickstand the left toes. And then slowly we're going to start to fold the top body just to find a warrior three, so left leg extends out long behind you. Hands to prayer, help with the balance. Finding a drishti, something really small. I'm staring at a spot on my floor that's not moving. That will help with your balance. This is a great place too if you want to take it modified. Bring the fingertips down or to blocks. And you have these different heights with your blocks if you have them, right? Good. One more breath wherever you are in your warrior three. And then slowly and with control, we're going to take a big step back with that left foot as the arms come straight up overhead for high lunge. Good. We're only here as a transition. We're preparing for warrior two. Take a nice deep inhale breath. On the exhale, turn the toes on the left foot and slice the arms open, Virabhadrasana 2. Nice deep bend on this right leg, gazing off the right middle finger. Top body is not leaning forward or back, tailbone is tucked. Good, make sure this right knee is not tracking in, straight forward or slightly open. Get a little lower for one more breath. Now let's bring it back for peaceful warrior. Left hand down the left leg, right arm frames out the ear, nice side body stretch. If you needed a little relief on that right leg, straighten it out for that peaceful triangle for just a moment, or you can keep it bent for that peaceful warrior. Good, let's start to bring the right forearm to the top of the right thigh, left arm extends overhead, gaze can be up with the left hand or down with the right foot. Once we're settled here, let's bring that right hand to the inside for the full variation if that's available. If not, you can keep it right here on the thigh. Wherever you are, we're taking 2 breaths. Good. And we're going to take a nice easy twist to wrap up this sequence. So as you start to spin to the ball of the left foot, left hand plants inside of the right foot, right arm peels up high to the sky, easy twist. Let's lower that right hand, frame out the foot, step back to plank. You know your options. If you want to flow, inhale. Exhale, we come halfway through a push-up. Inhale, we find our back bend of choice. It starts to get more fluid and easy as you do this. Back to downward facing dog. Good, and one final time, we'll meet at the top of the mat. So go ahead and take your nice walk there, or take a nice little hop. Upward salute, one vertebrae at a time. Arms come out and over. Prayer hands over top, and then they come back through center. Okay, we're going to bring the weight into the left foot this time. As we start to kick the right leg back, top body folds just so we make that T with our body into our warrior three. Again, you can take it balanced or you can take it modified. Good, press those hands of prayer, or take another arm variation if you'd like. Flex that right foot so the toes are facing down. Focus on your drishti. So one more full breath. And then slowly and with control, let's take that transition. Right foot steps all the way back. Arms lift straight overhead, finding that high lunge. Good, we're only here for a moment really as a transition. Just take a nice inhale to prepare. Exhale, slice it open to warrior two. So right toes now facing the side, left toes facing forward. Nice deep bend in that left leg. Arms shoulder height, gazing off that left middle finger. Good, taking a little bit deeper on that left leg. Good, let's bring it back for our peaceful warrior. Right hand down the right leg, left bicep frames out the ear, side body stretch. You know, you have the option to straighten the left leg if you need to for peaceful triangle. Whichever option you're in. Let's take one more full breath. Got it. And then bring a bend back into the left leg if it's not there. Left forearm, top of the thigh. Right arm extends up overhead. Gaze at that right hand. That bothers your neck, you can bring it down toward the left foot. Don't lose that bend. I know that leg is burning. Good. If you want to try the full variation, this is technically the modified variation. Just drop that left hand to the inside of the left foot. So arms are straight and stacked. Again, this is a fine variation with the forearm. I actually kind of like it. I can give a little nudge to my knee. Whichever option you choose, we're here for one breath. And as we drop that right hand to the inside of the left foot, we'll spin to the ball of the right foot. Left arm peels up high to the sky, easy twist. Get a nice twist from the core. Good. Lowering that left hand to frame out the left foot, stepping back to our high plank. If you choose to take it, this will be our final flow. Inhale. Exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, find your back bend. Back to downward facing dog. Good. Let's lift that right leg one more time, three-legged dog. We're going to start to come forward to our plank as our right knee comes toward that right elbow. Good, and we're going to swing that leg in front so the right knee plants behind the right wrist. And I'm going to start to inch my left leg out to the back of the mat, untuck my toes, preparing for pigeon. So you have the option, if you want to stay lifted here, you certainly can. But make any adjustments you need to. If you have a lot of space between this right hip and the mat, you can grab a block, you can grab a couch pillow, a blanket, book. Okay. And try this. This leg's not going to be perfectly parallel, the shin to the top of the mat, but try not to have it so far angled in. So you can find that maybe that medium spot here. You'll really feel it differently in the hip. And then you have the option, of course, to lower. If you want to come to forearms, you want to come to your forehead. I often like to bring my head to a block. Feel a little more supported there. Whatever option you choose, settle into your pigeon for a few breaths. Good. Coming back to your breath, back to your intention. Again, using your breath as a tool when you feel like you are at the point where you've extended this as far as possible. Just breathe, allow the body to relax and settle into this posture. Just take a few more breaths. From our pigeon, we're going to prepare to take a half frog, one of my favorite ways to kind of wind down class. So you need to come to the palms probably just to get this right leg out. So we're going to keep the right leg bent, but we're going to open it to the side this time. Good, so finding that 90-degree angle with that right leg, and then lowering to the left cheek, arms come to cactus. So lots of 90-degree angles here. Arms are making football goal posts. Right knee is in a straight line out from the right hip. Ankle is a straight line down from the knee. Right toes facing the right wall. Good. Settling in for just a couple of breaths. If we stay here too long, I fear we might not get back up. But again, trying to get that right hip flexor closer to the mat. That's where you're feeling the stretch in the right hip, the right inner thigh. Feeling very supported here on our bellies. Take 2 more breaths. Good. Slowly starting to come back center, planting the palms. Good. You have 2 options. You can go plank to three-legged dog, or you might want to shoot right back up to that three-legged dog and just shake out that right leg. But if anyone wants to throw in a flow between sides, you certainly can. I'm going to lower my right leg, and I am going to lift my left leg this time. That's a three-legged dog here on the left side. All right, we're going to come forward to that plank as that left knee comes to the left elbow. See if you can make contact. Good, and swinging that left leg around so that left knee's behind the left wrist. Trying to get this leg as parallel as we can to the top of the mat. Good, staying lifted while you make your adjustments. Maybe inch that right leg out further behind you. Again, if you need to put something between the hip and the ground, and maybe you stay lifted the whole time, that's perfectly fine. But once you have your alignment, you know you have that option to lower. So maybe to forearms, maybe all the way to the forehead. Don't force anything that doesn't feel okay. And it's really important that we're able to distinguish the difference between being uncomfortable and being in pain, right? So we don't want to be in pain here, but a little bit of discomfort is okay. Only you know what your body can tolerate and what's going to, change you in a positive way or what's going to injure you. We certainly don't want any injuries here. Good. Settling into whatever variation you are in your pigeon pose for a few more breaths. Closing the eyes, coming back to the breath, back to your intention, keeping your focus on your body for just a few more minutes out of your entire day. So our last couple breaths here. Final breath, and then we'll transition into that half frog pose. So if you're on the forearms, coming to the palms just to do this safely, and then bringing that left knee out to the side. That 90-degree angle here, lowering to the right cheek, arms out to cactus, settling in. Right leg is still extended long behind you with the toes untucked. I strongly encourage you to close your eyes here. Just settle in for a couple breaths, really keeping your focus on that left hip flexor. If it's not close to your mat, seeing if you can get it a little bit closer. Really nice restorative way to kind of wrap up our practice here. Taking a few slow breaths before we make our way out of this. Guys, just a little side note, if anyone at home, I don't really ever cue it in class, but if anyone at home is working on their flexibility and wants to try a full frog, you can do both legs at once. Something you might want to try at home, right? That would kind of be both knees. I'll go sideways just for a second. Or both knees out to the side as you sit back. It's pretty intense, but coming to the forearms makes it a little bit more manageable. But just another option if anyone wants to work on that, you're certainly welcome to. Okay, let's start to come out of this. So let's plant those palms. And again, you can come up through plank by straightening the left leg and then lifting it, or you can kind of do it all together as you lift that left leg. However you want to get to that three-legged dog. Bend that knee, shake it out. Good, lower the left leg to meet the right. Let's roll out to our high plank pose, and slowly and with control, let's lower all the way to our bellies. Good, untuck the toes, separate them. Good, palms plant underneath the shoulders. We're gonna find just a high cobra here. If you wanna take a low cobra, you can just lift halfway. So lifting the palms, if you wanna take a high cobra, press through the palms and start to lift. Maybe even dropping the head slightly, lifting the chin. Keeping the shoulders away from the ears, nice and wide through the collarbones. Pressing the hips into the mat, nice back bend, nice abdominal stretch as well. Good, let's slowly lower. Good, we're gonna do that one more time. Pick your back bend of choice, so lower high cobra. Slowly lift. The wider your feet are, the less intense this will feel on your lower back. So if it's pinching the lower back, just bring your feet even wider. And slowly lowering. Good. Keeping your head at the top of your mat, feet at the bottom. Just roll over onto your back. I'm just going to come sideways again once more for a visual if anyone needs it. Good. Watch your let's hug the knees into the chest. And then I just want to give you a couple of moments. I'll give you a few options. For yogi's choice, if you want to come into an inversion, a simple one would just be to lift the legs here into waterfall. But if you have A shoulder stand, headstand, forearm stand, handstand. You want to come into, you're welcome to do that. Maybe you want to do a little bit of core work. Maybe you want to take a happy baby by reaching for the outer edges of the feet, drawing the knees in toward the armpits. If none of this sounds good, just come into your Shavasana. We'll all meet you there in just a few moments, but I just want to give you these last couple breaths of class. So take whatever your body needs. Maybe you want another spinal twist. Taking just a few more moments with whatever it is that you are working on. If you have a wall close to you, you want to bring your legs up against the wall. It's a really nice restorative way to end class. I often take Shavasana like that when I'm in the studio. Let's take our final 2 to 3 breaths, whatever you're doing. Oh, it's starting to rain. I can hear it on the windows. Figured today would be a good day. It didn't seem like a beach day. Okay, and then finding your final rest. So if you need to grab a sip of water, turn out the lights. If you're on my playlist, I'm going to skip ahead one song to Watermark. Good. And again, finding a variation of this pose. Maybe taking it nice and big like a starfish with legs out wide, arms out wide. Whatever feels good for you. Let's take a nice deep inhale and exhale just to help settle in. So inhale, filling all the way up. Open mouth, let it go. Good. And settling into your final resting pose, trying to find some stillness here. Finding that comfortable variation so once you're there, you can stay. We're not here long. Just a minute or two. Nothing out of the grand scheme of your entire day. Just to find some stillness, to find some peace within, to find some calm. Calm among the crazy, right? Again, nice, slow and controlled inhales and exhales. You always have that option with the hand over the heart and over the belly. Maybe if you take that this time, you'll feel the heart's beating a little bit faster after some movement. And really closing the eyes and trying to eliminate any outside distraction. Carving out some time in your day for yourself, for your rests. Which is something that so many of us don't do unless we are told we have to. And it's not doing nothing, you are doing something. You're taking that time for yourself, that rare moment of stillness to recharge and reset. Let's take our final few breaths here on our backs. Now, if you've taken my class before, you know I say this probably every week. If your day will allow you, I strongly encourage you to stay longer. I'm going to stop my music here, and we're going to slowly start to invite some movements into the body without disturbing the peace we just created. So maybe start by wiggling the fingers and toes. Good. If your legs are out wide, bringing the legs together to touch, extending the arms overhead for a nice full body stretch. Hugging the knees in toward the chest. And when you're ready, rolling over onto your right side, finding fetal pose. By using your left hand for some support, just to gently guide yourself back up into a seated position, maybe crossing the opposite leg in front as you did at the beginning of class, if you even remember. Palms can face up or down on your knees, maybe a prayer heart center, whatever resonates with you today. And let's close class with one really deep, full collective breath. Let's take a nice deep inhale through the nose, fill all the way up. Open mouth, really let it go like you're fogging up a mirror. Bowing the head toward the heart. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for allowing me to be your guide. When you leave your mat, keep strength in your body, peace in your mind, and love in your heart. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. Hope everyone is feeling good. And just stay tuned in our Facebook group for any upcoming schedule changes. Thanks, guys. See you soon. Bye.